2014, I still remember, this is how I got hooked on points and miles. It was the day after Christmas. I found out about Google Flights, and you could pull up a map and look for different places. And I was in New York, and I just had the whole map of the US, and I saw Hawaii was $14. And I hadn't been shopping. I didn't know, but it seemed extra cheap. And I was like, I wonder what business class costs. And I dropped it down. Business class was $114. That's a lot of blogs. And there's a lot of bloggers that just talk about all the efficiencies. And, fortunately, I had a lot of business expenses as well. So I started just putting business expenses on my personal card and then getting reimbursed from the company. For vendors, for even booking hotel rooms and airfare for some of my coworkers. Nobody else wanted to deal with it, but I was like, okay, I'll buy everyone's ticket, and then the company reimburses me. So I ran up a lot of miles. Couple tips. I think it's better to focus on cards that have transferable miles. So American Express, Amex points, Chase points through like a Chase Sapphire or Reserve, because those could transfer to multiple airlines. So Amex points, for example, can transfer to Delta. So unless you're chasing status, you're better off earning the points on Amex because you could transfer them to Delta if you need, but you could also transfer them to about 20 other airlines, including, say, Air Canada, if you want to fly on United, or British Airways or Cathay Pacific. And so you could actually book an American Airlines flight even using British Airways miles. So having that flexibility to transfer between Amex and the carriers is often a better value than just having all your points stuck with Delta or United. And the key is just don't carry a balance. If you're carrying a balance, it's not worth it because the points are valuable, but not if you're paying 29% interest rate. But for those of us that are investing, it's great if you're going to Home Depot for a property, put everything on a credit card, pay it off at the end of the month. If you're furnishing an Airbnb, same thing. And I did that on a project I'm a limited partner in, but I let them, I basically said, hey, use this credit card for everything. And probably have about $30,000 in furniture and various expenses that, is all being paid for by the property and paid the bill. And now I've got 30,000 more miles to use.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's super powerful. I mean, I've taken so many trips that I wouldn't have. If I had to sit in the back of the plane and fly like 12 hours in coach, like I just wouldn't want to go. But and that's one of the best redemptions is you transfer, for example, Air Canada charges 60,000 miles to fly business class to Europe. Delta may charge 150 for that, but Air Canada has a really good sweet spot for awards. So some of the foreign carriers have much better deals. So for 60,000 points, you can fly business class, you get a lay flat seat, you get dinner and breakfast, you get wine. It becomes part of the fun of the trip if you plan your travel properly.
Oh wow, that's cool. So what class, I guess, do you travel in now?
Pretty much business class. If I'm flying an hour, it's like, nah, I joke around about this, like I'm too fat to fly coach. Like, but if it's like a 1 hour flight, 2 hour flight, like I'll do it begrudgingly. But it's one of the things. I don't buy a lot of expensive clothes. I'm into comfort and travel. I'll spend that extra money on sitting up front, and it could be a business. It could be a networking experience. I've met potential investors. When you're sitting next to somebody in business class. I made a good friend. One of my trips to Vegas, a doctor was sitting next to me, and we had a good old time. Chatted for most of the flight, stayed in touch, and he's on my mailing list now. And sometimes it's worth the investment.